sheets of big Post-it notes in order to make sure that the sunlight doesn't come through those windows and shine onto my face. Again, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but it makes a big difference in how you are showing up, how professionally, and what type of first impression you're able to make when you are on your Zoom calls. So get creative. Now, people always ask me, Tanis, what should I do about a background? They want to get creative. They don't want people in their house, whatever it may be. The best suggestion that I have for a background is that you want it to be clean and simple. People do all kinds of crazy things and, moving backgrounds, and you don't need to do that. You can find somewhere in your house that is very simple. You can stack boxes on the table in front of you, so that way your computer is at eye level. It doesn't even have to be in an office if you don't have a home office. Just somewhere that has a relatively non-distracting background, and also somewhere that can be quiet if you have children or pets running around the house. This is a great example of a beautiful office. My office is not nearly this big or beautiful, but the reason that I want to show you this office is because where the current chair is would not be a good place for a Zoom call because there are windows behind that chair. Instead, this would be the chair that I would do the Zoom call in. So you might have to think creatively about which side of your desk you sit on or which side of the kitchen table to make sure that you've got the lighting in front of you instead of behind you. Now, of course, can we have virtual backgrounds? Well, we can. None of these are going to be super professional, so I probably wouldn't recommend any of these backgrounds. However, you can do relatively simple backgrounds with a company logo. I use a website called Canva. I don't know if you've used that before. Keith, if you'll drop that over into the chat box, canva.com. And I go to Canva and I pick a backdrop and I drop my logo into it, similar to what I have behind me right now. And that's what I use. So you don't have to spend a ton of money. You don't have to hire a graphic artist to create something that matches your brand, your company brand, or your colors, whatever you'd like to do. So Canva is a great opportunity for this. Now, what I will say about using virtual backdrops is that they don't look great unless you have a green screen. Many of you might notice on some of your calls that people's hands will disappear, or part of their face or their neck will disappear, or sometimes it ends up being just a floating head. And the reason that that happens is because they don't have a green screen behind them. But there are some options here. Now, of course, you could go the full-blown, set up a studio in your house, and it's actually not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. I think this is a $190 setup for everything. But you don't even have to go that far. You could spend $50 on something that straps to the back of your chair or that you can hang on to the wall. And Keith's going to drop the links to these products over into the chat box. These are all products that I've used with different people that I have coached who are giving executive presentations or presenting to boards or whatever it may be. And the reason that I like green screens is because it is a way to give you some privacy. I feel like bringing people into our homes is adding another layer of intimacy that for some situations is great. Don't get me wrong. When we are working with our colleagues, it's wonderful to be able to get to know each other on that level. However, there are some situations where it just doesn't feel quite right to invite someone into your home on your computer. And so green screens can be a great option that help you look professional and also, help people not see whatever is going on behind you. So your house can be as messy as you'd like, and everyone will have no idea what's going on behind you. All right, so here's what we are going to do. We're going to do a quick breakout, and in order to do this, everyone's going to have their cameras on. This is a workshop about video conferencing, and so I want everybody to have your video on. You're going to go into a room with only one other person, which means that if your video isn't on, it's a real bummer for that other person because they don't get the opportunity to participate in this activity. So we're going to send you to random rooms with one other person, and here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to introduce yourselves to each other if you don't already know each other, and you're just going to take a quick 2 to 3 minutes and we'll give them 3 minutes, Keith, and give each other a little bit of feedback on, the backdrop. Are they looking into the camera? Do they need to bring their computer up? Just have a conversation about the things that we've talked about so far. So Keith, let's go ahead and send everyone into breakouts with 2 people for 3 minutes.
Jody, did you get an invite? I'm going to assign you to a room, okay? You'll be there with 3 people. Sabrina, did you get an invite? Oh, you guys had another minute. You could have hung out and chatted. Hold on a second. I got you on mute. You can unmute yourself if you'd like.
I did not have anybody in my room.
Huh?
None?
I'm so sorry to hear that. The person who's supposed to be there looks like they didn't show up. I apologize. Was that a Moren who said that?
It's Sabrina.
Sabrina. My apologies. We have another breakout coming up here shortly, so I'll be sure to get you assigned to a.
Oh no, I'm fine.
Okay. Got a few more seconds before everybody comes back into the room again. Anybody make some major changes and shifts to their cameras? It was funny, right before we went into this breakout room, I see everybody like reaching up and like making the adjustments and sitting up straight and.
I have a bad habit of getting too close like that.
Yes, that is a very common one.
You can
actually.
see pretty.
Yeah. So I have friends. We Zoom a lot. Like my hunting, I have hunting and fishing friends, and we'll Zoom to talk. And I'm always like this with my phone or doing something, but that's casual, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we all got some good suggestions on how we could adjust, hopefully, change things a little bit, maybe add a little bit of light to your faces or switch around so the light is in front of you instead of behind you. It's really an awareness thing. It's the same as when I do in-person coaching for body language or presentation skills. It's all about being aware and paying attention to what's going on. If we forget to look at our own picture, then we show up in a way that we may not be really proud of. And so we always want to be sure that we are looking at our picture before the Zoom starts. One trick that I do want to teach you that can actually really reduce the Zoom fatigue is that you can hide your self view. By clicking on the 3 little dots in the upper right-hand corner on your picture, you can not only change your name, so it's your full name, but you can also hide self-view. And I will often do this because when I'm on the computer with someone else, I'm constantly judging myself. How does my hair look? Do I, is something funny going on? Whatever it may be. And in order to reduce that judgment, I just hide my self-view. And that way I'm not focused on me. I'm focused on the person that I'm having the conversation with. It is about them.
How do you get it back, Janice?
How do you get it back?
Same way?
When you hide self-view, then up in the right, it should say show self-view right next to speaker view.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I see it. Yep, thank you.
Yes. And so that is a neat trick that you can use to help you not be so exhausted at the end of the day. All right, let me jump back in here. Do we have any other technical questions about the green screen or the videos or any of those things? Keith, was there any that came through in the chat that I didn't cover?
There wasn't anything that came through the chat, but there was a question in our chat box regarding external microphones. Sorry, external cameras.
Okay.
That came from earlier. Do you have any recommendations on that?
As far as which ones?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. So I will be completely honest with you. I'm not a huge techie. And the way that I chose my external camera, I Googled the best web cameras, found a blog of someone that is trusted, and they had the top 10. And I went down the list until I found one that was actually in stock. I know, super technical way. I ended up with a Logitech camera and I do love it. It was an investment, but I also assumed that I'm going to be using this for years and years to come. And so it was a good investment, but that's how I figured out which camera to purchase, was by reading a tech blog.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other technical questions? No, y'all feel pretty comfortable? All right, well then let's move on. We're gonna play a little game. And here's how this game works. Oh dear, you're gonna all have to turn your videos on again. I know. Here's how the game works. We're gonna have everyone turn on your videos and I'm going to make a statement. And if that statement applies to you, then you will leave your video on. If it doesn't apply to you, then you will turn your video off. So again, we're just starting and stopping our videos. So I'm gonna stop sharing and put us into view so I can see. All right, here is the first question. I want you to remain visible if you have had at least one video call with a client or team member. Okay, so pretty much everyone. All right, here's the next question. I want you to remain visible, keep your camera on if you love seeing yourself on camera. Wait, where's everybody going? Oh, Keith, I think we've got almost everybody gone. Oh, Chris likes to see himself on camera. What can he say? Fair enough. Okay, so here's another one. I want you to remain visible, so come back onto camera, if you feel a little bit self-conscious about being on video. You maybe judge yourself a little bit. You get nervous about them seeing your house. Pretty much all of us. The reason that I bring this up is because we're all in this boat together. I don't know many people except for some of my crazy public speaker friends who love seeing themselves on video. And the reality is that this is going to stick around, so we've got to get comfortable with it. I'm going to teach you some skills regarding body language and engagement that will hopefully help you feel a little bit more comfortable than you actually are in these virtual settings. Because I know we judge ourselves, and we need to stop doing that and just accept the fact that, hey, we're on video and they're not looking at me the way that I'm seeing myself. So let's talk a little bit about first impressions. I am going to show you a bunch of pictures, here they are, of people on Zoom. And what I would like is I would like to know, I'm going to circle them, and I'd like to know what impression they are leaving on you. So Keith, you watch the chat box. Let me know what people are saying. Here's the first one. Tell me in the chat box, what is this person telling you by their body language?
Bored, disengaged, uninterested, disinterested.
Yeah.
More
All right.
bored, yeah. The meeting is not worth getting out of bed for. I like that one. Thank you so much, Jody. Netflix and work, multitasking.
That's a good one, Netflix and work, fair enough. So here we are making this impression, and maybe they didn't have anywhere else to be in their whole house. I still would have sat against a white wall before I would sit on my bed, just saying. All right, how about this person? I'm afraid of what you're
rough night, just getting up. Not taking it seriously. Is he really working? And I think Jody, you nailed it again. Surfs up. I'm sexy and I know it.
Okay. Wow, I love this.
I'm sexy and I know it. And he's definitely against buttons. You're absolutely right, Derek.
Yes, no buttons there. How about this one?
On the toilet.
They very well could be.
The phone is more important. It's
The
true.
phone is more important. I would bet anything she's got her cell phone in her hands.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay. Well, here we go. Here's another one. What do we think she's thinking?
She's actually not thinking. She's watching TV, according to Anna Faust.
Ah.
No idea what you just said. How much longer is this meeting? I wonder what's going on outside.
Yeah, I think there's a bird.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
definitely
it's
daydreaming. And Denise Todd says she has too many costs. Chicken of the sea is chicken or fish?
Okay,
it's a daydream.
getting deep into what she's thinking.
Right, but she'd definitely rather be at Woodstock.
So here's another one. What do we think he's thinking? He's on his phone, isn't he?
I when I first saw that, Santa, I thought he was sleeping.
Oh, that could be too.
Yeah.
If we can't see your eyes, we're going to assume you're sleeping.
Yeah, gaming, definitely.
Ah, there we go.
Another playing game. Tindering.
Sounds...
Is that a verb?
Wow, we're getting awfully creative
on
with
this
this
video game.
Okay. All right, last one. These two over in the corner. Wah wah.
I'm not even on. Yep. Shy. Didn't do their hair.
No shower.
Got off cooking dinner. I haven't been to a salon, so you can't see me. Multitasking.
Multitasking, for sure.
Yep.
Disinterested.
Yep. I was told I had to be here.
I was told I had to be here, so I am here.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that I love doing this is because I feel like it really brings an awareness to how we are showing up. I guarantee that every one of us on this call has done some of these things, hopefully not going to the bathroom while we're on the call, but all of the other things that you mentioned, we probably are guilty of at one point or another. And the reality is, in the first couple of weeks of COVID, we might have gotten away with some of these things, wearing pajama pants, you know, haha, all of those things. But now people are really expecting you to be professional and you to show up in a manner that you would show up as if you were walking into their office. So I want to talk a little bit about body language, and specifically your body language and what it's telling people, and also what you can watch out for when you are watching other people on your call. So when it comes to body language, it's watch your PEG, P-E-G. I wanted to try and make it easy for you to remember. The first is posture, the second is eye contact, and the third is gestures. So here we go. With our posture, we want to be sitting up with our shoulders back. If you are sitting in a chair, we want to be sure that we're not swiveling or leaning back in the chair, because that's going to leave a really negative impression. Instead, we want to sit with our feet planted on the floor. It's the same as when I teach a public speaking class. I teach people to stand strong. In this situation, when you're on video, you want to sit strong. So you're sitting straight up, feet on the floor, with a chair that doesn't swivel, or maybe you lock the swivel or just work to not swivel. It makes a big difference. With your eye contact, the key is constant camera connection. You can tell a difference when I am in my camera versus when I am down on my computer. There's a big difference between camera connection and screen connection. Now, one thing that people will often ask me is, well, Tanis, how do I watch people's body language if I'm looking into the camera all the time? I want you to be looking in the camera when it's your turn to talk. When other people are talking, that's the perfect time to look and see what, you know, your colleagues are doing. Are they engaged? Do you need to ask a question? All of those good things. When it's your time to talk, you're in the camera. And when it's not, that's when you can observe. Another thing that you can do is you can step back from your camera ever so slightly, and that way you can look at your screen and your camera without it being so noticeable. The closer you are, the more noticeable it's going to be where your eyes are. And so you can distance yourself from your camera, scoot back in your chair just a little bit, and that will allow you to have a view of the camera and the screen at the same time. But it's really important to know that we can tell the difference between when you're looking at the tiny dot on your computer and when you're looking down. We can also tell when you're reading. And then gestures. Gestures, often people will say, well, I don't need to use gestures when I'm on a call. Fair enough, I get that perspective. But when you don't use gestures at all, you just become a talking head. And the reality is that our palms are what allow us to connect with people. I always teach, show your palm, show your palm, show your palm. The palm equals openness, honest, I'm ready to connect with you. And so when you are able, even on video calls, bring your hands up into the view and let people see your palms. Even if it's just 1 or 2 times for a few seconds each, it's just a matter of connecting with your audience. You'll be surprised at what a big difference it makes. And hopefully people on your call will start doing it along with you. The one thing that I do want to warn you against, I always teach people, don't touch yourselves. This is really nervous looking. And I've been on some Zoom calls with people where they're fiddling with their hands and their rings. And again, it doesn't look really professional. If you're going to use your hands to make gestures, that's great. If you're not, then keeping them down in your lap or at your sides is probably the best place for them to be, instead of being in the view, playing or, you know, doing something. Don't touch yourself. That's the rule. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do another really fast breakout, another 3-minute breakout. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to introduce yourself, speak directly into the camera, keep your posture up, and try to throw in a gesture. So I'm gonna put you under some pressure and have you try everything that I just suggested. And I want you to notice how different it is from the last breakout that we did. So Keith, again, 2 people per room for 3 minutes each.
Yep, there'll be a room or two that has 3 in it, but I also, there was somebody came back last time, so there's nobody in their room. You can broadcast back to me here in the lobby, and if you find yourself in a room by yourself, broadcast to me, let me know, and then I can move you into a room that actually has other people in it. So everybody ready? Thumbs up.
3
All right,
minutes.
here we go. Time to teleport. 3, 2, 1, and go. Melissa. Melissa, are you with us? Welcome back. We've got about another 30 seconds before all the rooms automatically close themselves out. Any lessons learned, any tips and tricks that you want to share with the group as everybody's returning back in here again? One thing that I do to help myself out is I have a Post-it that I place over my camera with a arrow pointing down. So I know that this is where I need to look. And this is something that helps me out quite a bit because I too get myself all wrapped up in looking down into the screen. Tannis, we have about another 4 seconds before everybody's back in the room again. And here we go. You are muted.
Can you guys hear me by chance?
We can.
Every time that we've broken out, I've had the same person every time. Jody and I have matched up every time. So I don't know, is everybody else experiencing the same thing, or is this just
You're
It's
just
luck.
lucky.
okay?
Yeah.
This is the first time I had somebody different. I've had the same person also.
Oh, okay. In the first 2, we had the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
this
then
one.
every one-on-one session I had was with Jody every time.
Oh. It's supposed to be random, but maybe Zoom doesn't make it as random as we'd like.
And not that either one of us are complaining.
No,
I
no.
just wanted you to know that if it was supposed to be trying to meet other people, that's
Yeah. It was really just meant to be a practice. And so I like that you had the same person because then you were comfortable practicing with each other. It was on purpose. What do you mean? All right. Well, now that we've gotten the opportunity to practice, and by all means, it takes a while to become comfortable with this, I want to talk a little bit more about how we are engaging our audience. When we get on these calls, whether it be with our team or, maybe we're getting on a conference, I'm curious to know if any of you have seen anything awesome as far as engagement goes. And for this one, I want you to go ahead and unmute yourself. So I'm going to make sure I can see some of your faces, but I want you to unmute yourself and share with us if you've had something that was really fun and engaging.
My phone kept freezing up, and so I looked like I was stuck in a fish face mode.
That was an accident, but that's okay. We're still going to put your name on the prize wheel. Who is this?
Sabrina.
Sabrina. All right. Everybody who contributes gets your name on the prize wheel. What else do we have out there that you've seen on a Zoom call or maybe you've heard about for engagement?
So I did something fun with my training team the other day where we did a virtual ball toss. So I posed a question for them. And so I would toss it to you, Tanis, and then you would answer, and then you would toss it to the next person. And so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. Now, did you have an actual ball that you pretended to throw, or did
No,
you?
but we talked about different things that we could throw. So we just imagined that there was a ball, but I mean, I guess you could do it different ways.
Oh, that's fun. All right. And who is this?
Anissa
Okay.
Foss with Mission Rock Residential.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Get you on the prize wheel. All right. Who else has an idea?
We've been doing happy hours. Happy hours. So usually about 3 or 4, and they've been setting it up so we get a chance to talk to other property managers and just kind of catch up and take business aside and just kind of have some personal connections with some of our coworkers.
Yeah, I love that idea. I had an engineering client who hosted a cocktail making party. And so she chose her favorite cocktail and taught everybody, a bunch of clients and people that she had invited, how to make the cocktail. And then they all just hung out on Zoom for 30 minutes and got to know each other a little better. I love that. And who was that shared the cocktail idea?
Heather.
Heather?
Yeah, Jody's got all my contact.
Perfect. All right, what other ideas do we have? I've got to have more than 3 people on my prize wheel.
You might, excuse me, you might have seen an article about this online because I think a couple of people have done it, but we twice now you can partner with a zoo to have them call in with different animals on your Zoom call.
Oh my gosh. I love it. What animals did you have?
We did a donkey, and then we did, it was at the beginning of COVID, so I honestly can't remember the other one, but the donkey was funny.
That's amazing. All right, who was that? Tell me your name.
Kenzie Slater.
Okay, Kenzie. I love it. Yeah, I've seen the llama that joins in on the meeting. That was all right, what else do we have out there? I know we've got some other fun stuff. None of you have seen anything else fun?
I know I'm not going to get on the prize wheel, but a friend of mine, she is a wine rep, and she works with vineyards. So basically, everybody goes out and buys the bottle of wine. They bring the person from the vineyard in on a Zoom call, and they do a tasting. And they talk about the wines and the flavors and all those things. And it's a really fun way to, one, get together, get some knowledge, and drink wine.
I love it. All right, if you don't have any
other thing, I know some mountain bicycle group I hung out with. They used to go to it. Everybody rode to their own brewery and then took a picture of themselves at a brewery, drinking whatever, but by themselves. So it was just kind of
nice. But that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, who was that?
Oh, Ted with Elevator Technician.
Yes, okay. All right, one last chance to share, and then I'm going to share some different ideas that I've seen. All right, that makes up our prize wheel, Keith. So a couple of different things that I've seen. The first are very, very easy, and we've actually done some of them on this call. Asking chat box questions is a great way to get people to open up in the beginning of a meeting. That's why I started out by saying on a scale of 1 to 5, how are you doing? And what do you want to learn today? Because that really gets people kind of jumping in and a part of the meeting. You can also do breakout groups. We've had multiple great breakout groups today. You could do them with 6 people or 2 people or 5 people, whatever works for your team. And again, this is a way to get people, maybe those who are on the shyer end, to share their opinions or thoughts or ideas with the rest of the group. Zoom does have a polling option where I can toss out a question and give you 4 or 5 options, and we can see where the group comes out as far as a poll is concerned. We're using polling during educational sessions because we have to have quizzes throughout the educational sessions in order for them to get credit. And so we use the poll as the test. The prize wheel, you will see that here in just a second. I'm going to show you a free prize wheel that you can use during your meetings. That's a ton of fun. A pre or a post gift. I'm seeing a lot of clients send things out to those who are going to be a part of their Zoom call. For example, the engineering company they didn't send out the supplies to make the cocktail, but they sent them nice cocktail glasses with their logos on them and a little client gift before the Zoom call. I also have another client who is doing all of their onboarding virtually. And so on each day, we have a different gift that we send out. They're just small things, but we send out different gifts virtually to the participants, and that can be a really fun thing to do to get people involved. Of course, we can play games. There's a really fun game that you can do when everybody is in their own little boxes where it's the high five game. So I go right or I go left, and if the person next to me matches, then I get to keep my video on. If the person next to me doesn't match, then I turn my video off. And the neat thing about this is that the videos that I see are completely different than the videos that you see. The order of the boxes are going to be different on every person's screen. And so you can't really tell who's who. And then you get down to a couple of people and it just brings a lot of laughs. So there are a lot of fun games that you can play on Zoom. We have show and tell. We did this the other week in one of my week-long trainings where one day we did show and tell with just any object you wanted around the house. And then the next day we did show and tell with a pet or a kid or whoever was around that you wanted to bring on camera with you. And that was a ton of fun. We even had people just show pictures on their phones if their kids or pets weren't around. A travel log, we did one Zoom call where everybody got to share a picture of somewhere that they've traveled and tell the group about that particular place. And it was just a neat icebreaker for a group of people that really gets down to business quick, but we don't know each other that well. So that was really fun. And there's also a new thing called Snap Camera. Honestly, there is something new all the time in this Zoom world. I'm going to show you what Snap Camera looks like, because it's a little bit crazy. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to spice things up in the Zoom world. You just have to get creative. And the reason that I encourage creativity is because we're all getting a little bit tired of this. So it's fun to get out of our box and try different things. I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel and wrap things up for today. If we've got any questions, feel free to type them over in the chat box and I can address those real quick. But Keith, let's go ahead and pull up the wheel with my few names on it. So this is called wheelofnames.com, wheelofnames.com. And
you ready?
Yes, go ahead and spin it. Oh, hell, Ted. Love it. There we go. Ted, you are my second winner, so I will be sending you a virtual Amazon card. I'm watching the chat box, but I don't see any questions. Did I miss anything that you wanted to cover? I know we've got just 1 minute left. Anybody have any last minute questions? Keith's been doing a great job over in the chat box. If you want to copy any of the links to the different things that I've talked about, he's put all of them over in the chat box to make sure that you have these as resources.
I had one question. Have you come across any time length that you seem is the right amount of time as opposed to too long or too short or anything like that for video chats?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a full day class that I'm doing on video, so you can do that if it's interactive and engaging. I mean, typically I try to stay around the 45-minute to 1 hour mark if it's a client meeting, because again, we need to get up, stretch our legs, use the restroom. During my full day, I take a 10-minute break every single hour.
Okay.
And so, you know, that allows people to get up and move. Somebody asked how do you end a Zoom meeting without awkwardness? And I think it's the same way that you end an in-person conversation without awkwardness. It was so great to see you today. I look forward to talking to you again. So the exact same way, pretend like you're in person and it won't feel quite so awkward.
Gotcha.
That was Daniel's question. All right, well, I will stick around if any of you have any other questions. I'm also going to share my contact information as we wrap things up for today. So that way, if you're interested, you can follow me on social media. I post all kinds of free things. I don't sell anything, but I post body language tips, public speaking tips, communication tips. So feel free to find me on social media and check out the videos that I've posted or the different suggestions. I am going to go ahead and turn it back over to your esteemed president. I think he's still, I don't see him. Are you there?
Yep, Dan, I'm here.
All right, Dan.
Well, thank you very much, Janice. And everyone, please make sure your mic is on. I'll give you a minute and we'll give a big round of applause to Tanis. We appreciate it. Look for information regarding our October and November lunches. We're changing up the format a little bit as we're learning with everyone else so the attendees can enjoy the speaker at no cost. So Jody will send out that information, but thank you for everyone to come in, and thanks again, Tanis. Certainly very helpful going forward on these virtual meetings, things we didn't think of before. So thank you everyone and have a good one.
Over
Thank
now.
you.
Oh, a team picture. I love that. All right, I will stop sharing.